There will come a moment, maybe late at night or early in the morning, when a voice inside you whispers, "You're not good enough." That voice sounds so convincing. It wears the mask of reason, of logic. But make no mistake, that voice is fear in disguise. We all have weak feelings, doubt, laziness, opted, comparison, envy. They show up when we're about to do something great. They show up not because we're not capable, but because we are. And that scares our comfort zones. Weak feelings don't knock down the door. They slip in quietly. They tell you to snooze the alarm just one more time. They tell you you'll start next week. They tell you someone else is better, so why even try? But if you don't learn to kill those weak feelings, they will kill your future. Slowly, quietly, without warning, one unmade decision at a time, one missed opportunity after another. Weak feelings often disguise themselves as logic and comfort. They don't always shout. They whisper, quietly convincing us to take the easy path. They come dressed in reasoning that sounds smart, practical, and even protective. Tell yourself, maybe now is not the right time, or I need to wait until I feel more ready. But in truth, what you're feeling is fear dressed up in a coat of logic. The danger is, it's easy to believe that voice. It doesn't sound like weakness. It doesn't sound like weakness. It sounds like wisdom. You say you're tired, so you'll rest today and start tomorrow. You say other people have more talent, more resources, more luck. So you convince yourself not to try. You call it being realistic. You call it being careful. You call it being careful. But the root of all those thoughts is something far less noble. Doubt, fear, and the quiet surrender of your potential. Weak feelings don't want to challenge you. They want to protect your ego. They want to keep you safe, not successful. But safety never builds greatness. Comfort never builds strength. Comfort says, oh, don't take the risk. Logic says, what if you fail? Weakness says, or not enough. And the worst part, you believe it. Because it doesn't sound like weakness. It sounds like a strategy. But what it really is hesitation. Hesitation kills dreams more silently than failure ever could. The more you listen to those feelings, the more they control your direction, through your actions, your identity. One day, you'll look back and realize how many of your decisions weren't made by your passion, but by your fear pretending to be logic. That's how it works. It doesn't stop you with a wall. It slows you down with a whisper. One missed opportunity at a time. One excuse at a time. One excuse at a time. Until eventually, the life you could have built is just a vision you never chased. You need to catch weak feelings in the act. You need to call them out for what they are. Not truths, but traps. Because when comfort becomes the compass, regret becomes the destination. And the only way to fight it is to act, even when logic says wait, even when fear says stop, especially then. They quietly influence small choices that build into lost potential. Weak feelings rarely announce themselves. They don't scream, give up, or you're failing. Instead, they show up as tiny, seemingly harmless decisions. You skip one workout. You delay one phone call. You postpone one dream just until the things calm down. And then, without realizing it, you're building a life that runs on hesitation. It starts small. That's why it's dangerous. The damage doesn't happen all at once. It compounds over time. Each time you choose comfort over effort, it feels like nothing. One skipped day won't ruin your future. One ignored opportunity won't make or break you. But it's never just one. Because once you start justifying the easy way out, it becomes your habit. Your standard lowers inch by inch. The decisions you make out of fear or fatigue begin shaping your path. And you don't notice the shift, not right away. But months later, you look around and wonder why you're stuck in the same place. Why you haven't grown. Why you're frustrated with your own lack of progress. It's because those small choices added up. Every time you said, not today, you pushed your dreams one step further away. Every time you listened to doubt instead of discipline, you let potential slip through your fingers. Lost potential isn't loud. It's invisible. It lives in the things you could have done, the person you could have become, the goals you never reached, because the easy decision felt harmless in the moment. Weak feelings are clever. They tell you you're being smart when you're really just playing it safe. They sound like self-care, but they're really self-sabotage. And because they don't feel like failure, they're hard to fight. But make no mistake, They steal from your future in silence, one missed chance at a time. And the truth is, you don't have to make dramatic mistakes to lose your potential. You only need to keep choosing what's easy instead of what's right. What you tolerate daily becomes who you are permanently. And if you don't take control of those quiet decisions, they will quietly take control of your life. The future is shaped by the patterns you ignore. You must take action despite fear, not in the absence of it. Waiting for fear to disappear is a trap. It creates the illusion that courage is only possible when you're calm, confident, and in control. But the truth is, those moments are rare. Most of the time, fear will be right there with you. In your chest, in your mind, in every step forward. And that's okay. Courage doesn't mean the fear is gone. It means you move forward anyway. Fear is not the enemy. It's a signal that something matters. It shows up when you're about to step into the unknown, when you're on the edge of growth, when what's at stake is meaningful. If there were no fear, the goal probably wouldn't be worth it. The problem isn't feeling afraid. The problem is letting fear make decisions for you. When you wait to feel fearless, you postpone your progress. You convince yourself that the timing isn't right or that you're not ready. But readiness doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. Action breeds clarity. It builds confidence. It builds confidence. The moment you move, even while shaking, even while doubting, you start to change. You prove to yourself that fear doesn't define your limits. You realize that fear is loudest before you begin, but it weakens with every step you take. The longer you delay, the stronger fear grows. But the moment you act, you start taking back control. Every person who has done something meaningful, started a business, made a life change, stood up for what mattered, did it while afraid. The difference isn't in their fear, it's in their response to it. They felt it, acknowledged it, and moved anyway. That's the only path forward, because fear will always whisper doubts. It will always find something to worry about. But action silences it. Not completely, but enough to move, You don't need to be fearless. You need to be brave. Fear is part of the journey, not the end of it. Let it ride along, but never let it steer. Because if you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll never move. And the only way to reach what you want is to walk through what you fear. You fear. Consistency matters more than motivation. Show up anyway. Motivation is unpredictable. Some days you wake up ready to conquer the world, and other days even getting out of bed feels like a battle. If you rely on motivation to drive your actions, your progress will be as unstable as your mood. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings change. That's why the people who succeed aren't the ones who wait to feel inspired. They're the ones who build habits that work even on the hard days. The truth is, the real growth happens when you don't feel like doing the work. But you do it anyway. When you show up tired, when you push through resistance, when you repeat the same small step over and over until it becomes your new standard. That's where transformation lives. Not in intensity, but in consistency. It's not about how loudly you start. It's about how long you can keep going. People often search for the secret to success, hoping to find a hack or shortcut. But the answer is simple, even if it's not easy. Discipline beats motivation. Consistency beats excitement. The person who writes 1 page every day will write a book before the one who writes 20 pages when they feel inspired and nothing when they don't. The one who trains daily with focus will outperform the one who trains only when it's convenient. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. It means doing the work when it's boring, when it's frustrating, when the results are invisible. It means keeping your word to yourself when no one's watching. That's what builds trust in yourself. That's what creates momentum. Each time you show up, even a little, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You won't always feel motivated, but you can always choose to be consistent. And the beautiful thing is, consistency builds motivation. When you see results, even tiny ones, they ignite your drive. The habit feeds the passion, but you have to earn that fire by showing up before it exists. You don't need to feel ready to begin. You just need to begin. Because the work you do on the days you don't feel like it, that's the work that sets you apart. Your purpose must outweigh your emotions in hard moments. Emotions are powerful. They can lift you up, but they can also drag you down. When things get tough, when you're tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed, your emotions will often tell you to quit, to slow down, to take the easy way out. That's when you must remember why you started. Because your emotions are temporary, but your purpose is not. Purpose is your anchor. It's the reason you wake up and keep pushing, even when nothing feels right. It doesn't fade with a bad day or disappear when you're frustrated. Emotions come and go like waves, but purpose is the deep current beneath. If you build your actions around how you feel, you'll always be at the mercy of your mood. But if you build around your purpose, you create something unshakable, a direction that holds steady even when the wind picks up. The hardest moments are the true test of what you're made of. Anyone can stay focused when life is easy, but it's in the storms, when doubt creeps in, when progress feels invisible, that your purpose must take over. That's when you remind yourself, I'm not doing this just because it feels good. I'm doing this because it means something. Let your purpose be louder than your excuses, louder than your pain. Let it speak when your energy is gone, when your motivation has run dry. Purpose isn't always exciting. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's hard, but it never lies. It keeps you honest. It keeps you moving when everything else tells you to stop. There will be moments when your emotions beg you to back off, to stay comfortable. But comfort doesn't create growth, and your emotions, if left unchecked, will try to protect you from effort. That's their job, survival. But purpose demands more. Purpose doesn't want you to survive. Eat to survive. It wants you to evolve. In those moments of resistance, ask yourself, is this feeling worth more than my future? And if the answer is no, if the vision is greater than the discomfort, then take the next step, even if it's small, even if it's small, even if it's hard, because purpose isn't proven by how you feel. It's proven by what you do. Growth begins when you stop negotiating with your weakness. As long as you keep making deals with your excuses, you delay your potential. Weakness speaks in soft, convincing ways. It says, just 5 more minutes of rest, or you've already done enough today, or you deserve a break. These voices don't sound harmful. In fact, they often sound reasonable, even kind. But what they really do is keep you stuck. Every time you negotiate with your weakness, you hand it power. And the more power it gets, the harder it becomes to break free. There comes a point where you have to decide who's in charge, your vision or your voice of comfort. That's the turning point. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy or when you're in full control. It happens the moment you stop justifying your limitations, you stop making space for distractions, you stop adjusting your goals to match your moods, you stop giving weakness a seat at the table. The truth is, weakness isn't something that disappears overnight. Overnight. It doesn't go away just because you read a quote or feel inspired for a moment. It fades only when you stop feeding it. And you feed it every time you hesitate, every time you settle, every time you lower your standards to match your feelings. The more you argue with your weakness, the more chances it gets to win. You grow when you set a standard that doesn't change, no matter how you feel. You grow when you commit to actions, not feelings. When you wake up tired but still show up. When you're scared but still take the still. That's where strength is born, in the refusal to negotiate with your lesser self. Growth doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for discipline. It asks for honesty. It asks for you to stop giving yourself an easy way out. The day you stop answering weakness with a compromise and start answering it with commitment is the day everything begins to change. That's when you take control of your mind, your habits, your future, because your weakness only has the power you give it. And the moment you stop negotiating, you start winning. Here's a suitable ending to your speech, Kill Your Weak Feelings Before They Kill Your Future, aligned with the tone, intensity, and rhythm of the content. So when the voice of weakness shows up, and it will, don't entertain it. Don't argue with it. Outwork it. Outlast it. Outgrow it. Because your future isn't built by what you feel in the moment. It's built by what you choose to do in the moment. You weren't made to live a life controlled by hesitation, excuses, or fear. You were made to rise, to lead, to leave a mark.